I also feel that apart from just, being able to install and remove the tap-up boxes with respect to the location, when you say you would have 3 meters with 500 as a fixed length, you basically are trying to install it before the rack ends also. Because the rack is a minimum 600 What if you have 800 racks? So it will not even come on top of each rack. It may move, here, because you have a limitation in air insulated and sandwich.
On a customer front, customer always want the tap-up box which is fit into a particular rack
Right on
should
top
fit it
of the
on
rack.
the top of it.
Correct.
And again, it reduces down the complete length of the busway that is giving power to a particular pod, right?
Correct.
So for an example, you have 10 number of racks mounted together, but you have this restriction of mounting tap-up box on a 500 Most of the time you end up, for this 10 meter length of the pod, you end up providing 15 meters of length of BBT.
Just because you want to incorporate number of
tap-up boxes.
Oh.
So that is got eliminated in the trackway. So length also got reduced. So capex wise, safety wise, aesthetic wise, trackway is now a technology that is more popular nowadays when it comes to a data center application or the critical application like assembly lines and all. So that is where you are getting this.
I know, I great input, and I wanted to talk about one piece of the problem which we had faced a long time ago, is the height. Most of the times in data centers, the height becomes one of the major criteria, because now this whole trackway or sandwich or air insulated would be something that would have to be installed on top of the rack. And if we are building a data center in a typical commercial building, your typical height is about 3.5 meters. 600 gone in terms of flooring, another 300 gone in terms of ceiling, and what you're left with is about 2.6 meters of free length. In that 2.6 meters also 2000 of 2.6 meters with 2000 of rack. So you're left with 600 of free space, in which you have to also run network cables.
Network cabling, yes.
Correct. And that's where once we had tried to design, and then it got discarded for the sole reason that was there's no height available. In that, the discussion actually went into two directions, and I want some input from your side on that. The air insulated or the sandwich had a different type of tap-up box, and the track had a different type of tap-up box. What is their contribution in terms of height saving?
So basically, when it comes to a trackway, there are two options possible with various OEMs. You either can mount the tap-up box at the bottom of the track. So track is running like at the top, and you can mount the tap-up box like this, so that you have a little more space above the rack that is required. But then the flexibility, you can move those tap-up box across the rack. Second option, now lately this manufacturer has come, because this length was little more. Now they started putting this tap-up box at the middle
side
of the trackway itself, so that you have a little more space. Advantage of air insulated was the space required for a tap-up box compared to what is there in trackway was little less. But then there was a restriction on the current carrying capacity.
Correct.
So trackway basically got a middle way. They now started mounting the tap-up box in between of these trackways, and then giving you optimal space as well. So there is a lot of space saving that is also possible. One of the case, I guess, your team is only worked on for a customer called Rakuten, right?
Yeah.
There they first, the installation is with air insulated. With that experience, they understood how further space can be optimized, and they replicated the same thing in the containerized solution, but with the trackways. So with the learnings from the Rakuten project, where again space was a crunch, air insulated given them that flexibility, and utilizing that knowledge of air insulated, they further extended it on the trackway.
Yeah, in the model.
The space was optimized on a modularized container solutions, right?
So yeah, modular containerized solution, obviously, because you have to maintain ISO standards, your height is always a question.
Yeah.
It can either be 8.5 feet or 9.5 feet. 9.5 feet hardly you would get, to manufacture, and even then that becomes very less. Correct. So yes, very rightly said that those height were the core challenges that we faced, and that's how we mitigated that. So what you are trying to say is, now an air insulated or a sandwich is more or less the same thing. Correct. Only air insulated has air as an insulation. In sandwich, there is a separate dedicated insulation.
Only current capacity, carrying capacity is more in the sandwich bus bar.
However, the limitation is at a fixed interval, you have to put some tap-up boxes. You cannot change that. You don't have the flexibility of installing it anywhere. Correct. And the third thing is that on the other side, in the trackway system, you are able to install the tap-up boxes anywhere and everywhere.
Across the length. Yeah.
Apart from that, you are also having the advantage of hot swappability. So you don't have to take any shutdown.